Bhagavatam. But today is a new chapter. This is chapter 13. We are doing Canto 4, Part 1. So this particular chapter says the description of the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. So far what we have seen is Dhruva Maharaj has passed away and the celestial aircraft has come and taken him to the Vaikunta. After reaching Vaikunta, he is welcomed over there. And now his job is to manage this pole star, which is Dhruvatara. While this is happening, the kingdom, which was his own earlier, if you remember in the last chapter, we did that he hands over the kingdom to his son. Now which son and who is this son and what happens to the other people? So today we are going to understand a part of their historical data or tree, as we say the family tree, to get an idea of how to proceed in this scripture. So Srimad Bhagavatam needs to give us stories about the Lord. So we have to progress from this point, which is Dhruva Maharaj, up to Maharaj Prithu. Prithu is the one who is called the progenitor of our human civilization. Alright? So this human civilization started from Prithu. So we are going to progress towards that. So we have to cover all the dots in between. We are not going to give a detailed analysis of this because it is just a family tree. We are just going to understand the flow. All right. So this chapter we may just go through. We are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Part 1. This is chapter 13. Description of the descendants of the Dhruva Maharaj. Verse 1, Sutta Goswami, continuing to speak on all the rishis, headed by Shaunak, said, after hearing Maitreya Rishi describe Dhruva Maharaj's ascent to Lord Vishnu's abode, Vidura became much enlightened in devotional emotion and he inquired from Maitreya as follows. So a recap of how this whole thing is going on. Vidura, who has been searching for answers, after the war is over, he has come back, and when he goes to meet Krishna, Krishna is no longer alive. So he meets Uddhava over there, but Uddhava is saying that he doesn't have the time. So he instructs Vidura to go and meet Maitreya Muni, Rishi that is there in the banks of Yamuna river. So Maitreya Muni is giving an entire genesis of what Sri Krishna has told Uddhava. Alright? So he has brought Vidura up to a point where Dhruva Maharaj has gone to the heavens. Now after this what happens is what we were going to understand. And all this story is being repeated at another level to Shaunak and other rishis by Sutta. Sutta has got these stories from Sukhdev. See, I hope you got this thing clear because it's like a long way off. So now let us see what Vidura is going to say. Vidura inquired from Maitreya Muni, O great advanced devotee, who are the Prachetas? To which family did they belong? Whose sons were there? And where did they perform the great sacrifice? So in the last chapter, we came across the Prachetas. If you remember, Dhruva fights the Yakshas, meets the king of the Yakshas, okay, Kuber, and then he comes back to this kingdom, rules the kingdom for 36,000 years, and then passes on his baton to his son. So meanwhile, there are lots of different sects which have come up. One of them is called the Prachetas. So naturally, Vidura is asking Maitreya Muni, can you tell me about all this? Where did they come from and what actually happened? Vidura continued, I know the great sage Narada is the devotee of, is the greatest of all devotees. He has compiled the Pancharatrika procedure of devotional service and has directly met the Supreme Lord. Now, this is a very important piece of information for all of us. The devotional path, the actual description of the devotional path and how to perform it, the main rishi connected with it is Narada. If you remember, Narada is the one who can go to any planetary systems. He can travel wherever he feels like. He can go to the heavens, he can go to the hell, he can travel the earth, he can go wherever he feels like. And he only tells everyone how to follow the devotional path. See, the devotional path is a different path. All right? There are methods of following the different path. And he has made it available to us through one of the scriptures that we have done. That is called the Narad Bhakti Sutra. It's a very small, tiny piece of knowledge. But a detailed explanation has been given in another scripture. And that scripture is this one. Okay? So this is a scripture which is codified. It's one of the most toughest scriptures to decipher for a normal human being. This teaches us the path of devotion through the path of performance of certain actions, like how the prayers have to be conducted, what you have to say, so on and so forth. So here Vidura is telling that this has been taught to us by Narada through the Narada Pancharatram. Okay? While all the Prachetas were executing religious rituals and sacrificial ceremonies and thus worshipping the Supreme Lord for his satisfaction, the great sage Narada described the transcendental qualities of Dhruva Maharaj. So here, Narad Muni, if you recollect, is the guru of Dhruva Maharaj. So when Dhruva was told by his mother to take the name of the Lord and sit in meditation, the guru that he meets is Narad Muni. Narad Muni gives him the process, the procedure to be followed. I hope you remember this. And within 6 months, Dhruva Maharaj was able to attain his objective. Got it? So, the rest of the people in that clan, they were following a simple other process. That is what they were interested in. And what was the process? They were doing ceremonial practices like sacrifices. What are the different sacrifices that are performed? The yagyas that are performed. If you remember, one of them is an Ashwamedh yagya. Okay? And different rituals and rites were performed by them. You know, if we also perform nowadays human beings, they perform a lot of this kind of ritualistic celebrations. They do all the kinds of pujas and parts and call it the panditjis and so on and so forth. So these are the rites and the rituals that are followed to reach God. But can they reach God? Answer is no. You can perform whatever rites and rituals and practices and anything you can do. You can do go and stand on your head also, do yoga, pranayama. Nothing is going to make you reach God. In this 6 months, this small boy of 5 years was able to achieve. One is when he has a guru who gives him the exact thing to do. Second one is he is very determined to follow that path. So within 6 months, he is able to evoke Narayana. And this is taught to him by Narada, who is his guru. Alright? My dear Brahmana, how did Narad Muni glorify the Supreme Lord? And what pastimes were described in that meeting? I am very eager to hear of them. Kindly explain fully about the glorification of the Lord. So Vidura is telling Maitreya Muni, is saying to him, see, Narada taught something to Dhruva. What is it that was taught to him which made him reach this destination? So can you tell me something about the process which he has used so that you can get to God very, very soon? So there must be some methodology somewhere. So here we are trying to understand this process. The great sage Maitreya replied, my dear Vidura, when Maharaj Dhruva departed for his forest, his son Utkala did not desire to accept the opulent throne of his father, which was meant for the ruler of all the land in the planet. Now, this is talking about his elder son Utkala. From his very birth, Utkala was fully satisfied and unattached to the world. He was equipoised, for he could see everything resting in the super soul and the super soul present in everyone's heart. So here is an introduction of a character. This character is called Utkala. Now he has already reached the destination. He is an enlightened person. So we call such type of people Nitya Siddhas, born realized. So Utkala was a born realized person. The born realized person is completely a detached person. He has no attachment whatsoever with anything. So when he is offered the kingdom, he says, I don't want the kingdom. I don't want anything. I don't want money. I don't want power. I don't want anything. Second thing that he says over here is he was satisfied. What is the meaning of the word satisfied? You know, it is the most difficult thing for human beings to be satisfied. Okay? If you are served something in the plate, suppose you are giving a helping of a kheer, that is a sweet meat, or some small thing which is very good to taste, offered once, would you like to eat it again? Of course you want to eat it again. Then you will tell your mother or whoever is there at home, your wife, or if you are a grown-up person, can I have it once again? Right? Can we make it once again? This is nothing but our desire to have that object again and again and again. Right? It is similar to everything, not just food, but clothing, shelter, everything. We just want it to be secure and safe, and I want it again and again. So, satisfaction doesn't ever come to any average human being. He is always dissatisfied. He wants to excel himself. He wants to get more out of that one thing. So there is no satisfaction in a human being. Human beings want more and more and more and more. Whereas Utkala is a person who is completely satisfied. So if he is given something to eat, he is not going to ask for more. He is not even interested in saying whether it is good or bad. If he has to eat, he will just eat it and forget about it. But what would you do? You will want to have more, or if you don't like the taste of it, you will remove it from your plate and you will say, oh no, I don't want this. Isn't that how people eat? Same thing goes for people, places, and things. Person dissatisfied with a place. I don't like this place. I want to go and stay somewhere else. I want a better place. I want like this. I want like that. A constant movement wherein you want better and better and better and better. If you have a 1 BHK, you want a 2. When you have 2, you want 3. When you have 3, you want 4. And it keeps on growing like that. And this is where we are never satisfied. So to be on an enlightened path, you need, number one, satisfaction. Second, unattached. You should never be attached to any person, place, or thing. Don't keep on saying, I like this, I like that, this is very good, this is very bad. I don't want this person in my life. I want this person in my life. Human beings have this tendency of talking like this. We love to talk, oh, I wish that this person dies. I wish this person goes away. I don't like this person. I wish this person never comes to my house. This is nothing but attachment. Whenever you meet a person and you get into some argument or something like that, it is because of attachment that you are getting into an argument. You want my way is the right way, that kind of a stuff. You have to be equipoised. You cannot be swaying left, right, and center. Nothing. No, you should be equipoised. It does not matter. And he could see everything resting in the super soul. So you have to see everything in the God alone and God in everything. These two things, the day you realize, can people from one community see another person from another community in God? They can't see. Can they see that God in everybody? No. They say this person is my enemy, that person is my enemy, this one is good, this one is bad. That is the reason why enlightenment can never come to a person. It's a very funny thing. I went to one organization and these people, they take the name of the Lord every day. Every single day they will take the name of the Lord. They will mint money in the name of the Lord. Building huge temples. They have this habit of gathering money and building temples. And you go and ask them, take the name of Sai Baba. Why? Your God doesn't teach you equality, is it? Is God not in him? The head of that organization gave so many bad words to Sai Baba. Why? Is this what Krishna teaches you? He is talking about seeing the super soul in everybody, and the super soul in everybody, and everybody in the super soul, Paramatma. How is it that you are segregating this person out? Really? And then I said, can you take this community and say they are also a part of your world? No. They are not from our world. They are different. Really? Is this what your scriptures teach you? So this kind of a belief system, you can keep on taking the name of God for 1,000 times, billion times, or trillion times also. Never in life will Krishna ever meet you. He will send all his crooks around you for getting whatever you want, of course. But no Krishna will come to you. No place in Goloka. No way. And not even Vaikuntha. Because you are enemy against your own people. Accept everybody. Some people are born mischievous. You can't do anything about it. Some people are born villainous. You can't do anything about it. There is a method where we can get, peace in this world. There is a method. But then you can't keep on segregating everybody out and saying, oh, my religion is the best religion. And this is wrong. This cannot be done. So, reaching the state of enlightenment is beyond the scope of these people from any lifetimes of theirs. Even the billion lifetimes if they take birth, no way can they reach God. When you have this kind of a distinction in the world, when you cannot do this kind of a relationship with another friend, remember in this is a book where it is written, friendship is important, mercy is important. All those terms we have done that. But here you don't have mercy, you don't have friendship, you consider everybody as enemies. That is cannot be done. Can you see God in them or no? So yeah, let us come to the next verse. By expansion of this knowledge of the Supreme Brahma, he has already attained liberation from the bondage of the body. This liberation is known as Nirvana. He is situated in transcendental bliss and he can continued always in the blissful existence, which expanded more and more. This is possible for him by continual practice of the Bhakti Yoga, which is compared to fire because it burns away the dirty material things. He was also situated in the constitutional position of self-realization and he could not see anything else but the Supreme Lord and himself engaged in discharging devotional service. Far greater than the Father is this Son. Because this Son was able to reach the state of realization at birth itself. He doesn't have distinction, he doesn't have attachment, he doesn't want anything in this world. He is completely free from all kinds of contaminations. He is in the Bhakti Marg, he is always an enlightened person. The blissful existence continues. He has no desire for anything. Whereas if you remember, Dhruva Maharaj is a person who went and fought a war also because of his brother. Enlightenment is a far way off for Dhruva Maharaj. He can never become enlightened. Because the moment you have attachment, my wife, my brother, my sister, my husband, my mother, father, my this thing, my, finished. It's called attachment. The moment you have attachment, you are taking, more credit for your body. And when you take credit for the body, your attachment, one body to another body, you are finished. No enlightenment for such type of people. So for them, they have to go to these lower planetary systems. If they are good people, they will go to some heaven. If they are bad, they will go to some hell. So anyway, in his case, Utkala's case, he is an enlightened person. He doesn't need any heaven also. He doesn't need any God also. He can just be free like Gautam Buddha. Free. So now let us see what happens to the other brother. Utkala appeared to be less intelligent person on the road, to be foolish, blind, dumb, deaf and mad, although actually he was not so. He remained like fire covered with ashes without blazing flame. These enlightened people, they don't show any characteristic at all. They will eat whatever they feel like. Whatever that comes in their way, they can eat that also. They can eat from a trash can. It won't affect them. They can eat a non-veg dish also. It won't affect them. They can eat human beings also. That also doesn't affect them. A person who is enlightened has absolutely no idea about his own body. Can you not understand? And that is the reason why these people look like madmen. They look completely gone case, less intelligent. They look foolish, they look dumb, they look blind, they look deaf, because even if they see something, they don't see it. Even if they hear something, they can't hear it, because their mind is nowhere in the picture. But they are very, very sane, they are very, very intelligent. They are not going to tell you that they are sane or intelligent. They are very, very strange people. So he remains like fire covered with ash. Nobody understands the innermost of this person. They are enlightened people and they just stay so. For this reason, the ministers and all the elder members of the family thought Utkala to be without intelligence and in fact mad. Thus, his younger brother, named Vatsara, the son of Brahmi, was elevated to the royal throne and he became the king of the world. So, everybody looks at him and says, oh, he must be a nutcase. You know? And he must be a mad fellow because he behaves in a very obnoxious manner. He eats from the roadside, he eats wherever he wants to, goes around here and there, does whatever he feels like. Sometimes he wears clothes, sometimes he doesn't wear clothes. You know the kind of behavior a madman has. But he was an enlightened person. He was born enlightened. He was Nitya Siddha, born enlightened. But nobody can recognize a born enlightened person. See, enlightened people never actually tell the world that they are enlightened. They will never show and say they are enlightened. The fake people will say, I am enlightened. I am like this. I met this person and I got enlightened. You know, people taking the name of Babajis and all these people in the world. Oh, I met this one and I met that one and I met Shiva. Really? You can meet whichever God you want. Still, enlightenment doesn't come to you. Please remember this. See, Dhruva Maharaj met Narayana. Do you think Dhruva Maharaj is enlightened? I don't think so. He was a ruler of the world. He was doing his job. He had anger in him. Even after many years also, he went after killing those people. Enlightenment is a far away story. And that is the reason why he goes to a lesser heaven. Vaikuntha. He goes to that heaven only. From there, he is managing this particular department of his called Dhruvatara, okay, which is called the pole star. That's it. He can stay over there forever. It does not really matter. But his son, he was enlightened. Utkala was enlightened. The other son of his, who became the king, is because they couldn't find the first son to be a person who can rule the kingdom. Like I said, he never told anybody anything. He just kept quiet and he was lost in his own world. He's an enlightened, born enlightened. So the second son who is there, his name is Vatsara, he became the king. And everybody thought he is the right person. King Vatsara had a very dear wife whose name was Swarvithi and gave birth to 6 sons. Now we are just going to read through, okay? Name Pushparna, Tikamaketu, Isha, Urja, Vasu and Jaya. Pushparna had 2 wives named Prabha and Dosha. Prabha had 3 sons named Praratar, Madhyanindinam and Sayam. Dosha had 3 sons, Pradosha, Nishitha and Vyustha. Vyustha's wife was named Pushkarni and she gave birth to powerful son named Sarvateja. Sarvateja's wife Akuti gave birth to a son named Chakshushu, who became the 6th Manu at the end of the Manu millennium. Nadvala, the wife of Chakshushu Manu, gave birth to the following faultless sons: Puru, Kutsa, Trita, Dyumna, Satyavan, Rita, Vrata, Agnistoma, Atiratra, Pradyumna, Sibi, and Ulmuka. Of the 12 sons, Ulmuka begot 6 sons in the wife Pushkarani. They were all very good sons, and their names was Anga, Sumana, Khyati, Kratu, Angira, and Gaya. The wife of Anga, Sunita, gave birth to a son named Vena, who was very crooked. The saintly king Anga was very disappointed with Vena's bad character, and he left home and kingdom and went out into the forest. Now, all these names, all these family tree and stuff like that, there is no need for anybody to remember any of these things. It is just to establish the family tree. How it comes down to this person called Vena. He was a villainous character. Okay. So here we have a bad character being introduced, and after that there will be some more characters being introduced. So let us see. My dear Vidura, when great sages curse. The words are as invincible as thunderbolts. Thus, when the cursed king Vena, out of anger, he died. After his death, since there was no king, all the rogues and thieves flourished. The kingdom became unregulated and all the citizens suffered greatly. On seeing this, the great sages took the right hand of Vena as a churning rod, and as a result of their churning, Lord Vishnu, in his partial representation, made his advent as King Prithu, the original emperor of the world. So now we are coming to the end of Dhruva Maharaj's dynasty. So there was a very bad king that was there, and when this king he took over the kingdom, his name was King Vena. He did something wrong because of which the Rishi Munis that were gathered, they cursed him. And so he died, leaving behind no heir to the throne. And when there is no heir to the throne, you let the kingdom go to dogs, what happens? All the crooks in this world, the thieves, the rogues, and everybody, they take charge of the kingdom. All this kingdom goes to dogs. So naturally, this whole thing has created a disturbance in the land of Dhruva Maharaj's kingdom. So the Lord decides that no, there is something that we need to do. So Lord Vishnu says, I will have to take birth now. So he comes and takes birth. This is during in the later part of the story. The next chapter we will see. So up to here, this was a complete follow-up of how this whole thing happened. Now, Vidura is definitely going to ask some questions based on this. You also may have the same question. So Vidura inquired from the sage Maitreya, my dear Brahmana, King Anga was very gentle. He had high character and was saintly person and lover of Brahminical culture. How is it that such a great soul got a bad son like Vena, because of whom he became indifferent to the kingdom and left it? Vidura also inquired, how is it that great sages who were completely conversant with religious principle desired to curse King Vena, who himself carried the rod of punishment and thus avoided him the greatest punishment, that is Brahmasapa? Brahmasap, snake. So here the question which Vidura is asking, when the father is such a great person, why is it that the son born to him turns out so bad? You know, there are lots of good kings in this world, but their children turn out to be complete idiots or stupid in this world, or they may turn out as villains. It happens in this world all the time. So Vidur's question to Maitreya Rishi is this, why did it happen? And why is it that the great Rishi Munis who are so conversant with all the rules and regulations, why did they get angry and why did they curse King Vena? See, normally a Rishi Muni is not supposed to do these kind of things because they understand the laws. So why did they do that? Is it the duty of all citizens in a state never to insult the king, even though he sometimes appears to have done something very sinful? Because of his prowess, the king is always more influential than all other ruling sheep. Now here it's a law, basically a law which tells us that when you have a king ruling the country, even the king may do something wrong, he may do something bad. Still, you are not supposed to say that he has done anything bad. This is as per the law. So, if you have a president or a prime minister or a chief minister or whoever, they do wrong in their life, it is not right on the path of common citizens to curse them and say something bad to them. Because they have been put in that position by the Lord themselves, isn't it? That God himself has put such kind of a presidents, prime ministers or ministers and whoever in these positions. So then by saying something wrong or saying something bad against them, is it wrong or no? This is also the question raised by Vidura. Vidura requested Maitreya, my dear Brahmana, you are well conversant with the subject, both past and future. Therefore, I wish to hear from you all the activities of King Vena. I am your faithful devotee. So please explain this. So naturally, he wants to know why did this Vena get into trouble? Why was he cursed and why was he asked to, why was he cursed to die? Sri Maitreya replied, my dear Vidura, once the great king Anga arranged to perform great sacrifices known as Ashwamedha. All the expert Brahmanas present knew how to invite the demigods. But in spite of their effort, no demigod participated or appeared in their sacrifice. So now the story is being told by Maitreya Muni. So there was this great king Anga. Anga is the father of Vena. Remember that. So one day it so happened that Anga was performing Ashwamedh Yagya. And naturally he had invited literally everybody. So when you perform any sacrificial ceremonies, your job is to invite everybody. So naturally he had invited the gods, these demigods as well. But the demigods never took the prasad. They never took the offering. Why is it? The priests were engaged in the sacrifice, then informed King Anga, O king, we are properly offering the clarified butter in the sacrifice, but despite all our efforts, the demigods do not accept it. O king, we know the paraphernalia to perform the sacrifice is well collected by you with great faith and care and is not polluted. Our chanting of the Vedic hymns is also not deficient in any way. For all the Brahmanas and priests present here are experts and are executing the performances properly. Dear king, we do not find any reason that the demigods should feel insulted or neglected in any way. But still, the demigods who are witness for the sacrifice do not accept their share. We do not know why this is so. Here, King Anga is there. He is performing the sacrifice along with all the Brahmanas that are present. And yet the gods are not accepting the sacrifice. See, when they are not accepting the sacrifice, the fulfillment is not going to happen. So the Brahmanas are saying, see, we are performing these pujas and parts and sacrifices very, very diligently. We are saying the words, the intonations, everything so perfectly. None of the words are wrong. All the practices that are supposed to be followed, we are following them. Everyone over here is perfectly doing their job. The offerings are being offered correctly. Whatever that is there, all the ingredients are pure. So if you remember, I have already given you all an understanding. Number one, whatever ingredients that you are offering has to be pure. So when you perform a puja, a yagya or whatever that is, if you are giving them a contaminated ghee, it is wrong. If you are giving them, say, twigs, which are not supposed to be what they are, now they are offered certain twigs which may be of another tree. No, this acceptance is not going to be there. Instead of giving them curd, which is made at home, you are buying some curd from the marketplace and putting it over there. That is not acceptable. Instead of giving them pure honey, you remember the honey that is got in the marketplace is created by using some sugars. That is not acceptable. Instead of giving them pure water, you are giving them, contaminated water or municipal water. All these, whatever flowers that are to be put, whatever, mantras to be chanted, if I chant the wrong mantra also, I won't get the benefit. So what these fellows are saying over here, all these Brahmanas are saying, we have taken precautions for everything. And yet, the demigods are not accepting what we have given them. So why is it so? Maitreya explains that King Anga, after hearing the statements of the priest, was greatly aggrieved. At that time, he took permission from the priest to break his silence and inquired from all the priests who were present in the sacrificial arena. King Anga addressed the priestly order, my dear priest, kindly tell me what offense I have committed. Although inviting the demigods was neither taking part in the sacrifice nor accepting their share. So King Anga, who has been sitting quietly over there, was not saying a single word. He asks the priest over there, can you please tell me, have I committed any error? Have I done something wrong that I have not pleased someone? Or if I have not taken that care to do this kind of a sacrifice? See, honoring everybody is important, especially the gods, the gurus, the masters, the priests. is important. They have to be given their position. If they are not given their position, if they are not offered what they are supposed to be offered at the time when this is done, then the prayers are not accepted. The demigods are not going to accept this kind of an offering. And that is the reason why it is very important that we do these prayers with clean heart. You cannot have biases, you cannot have this. So King Anga has asked this question, why did this happen? So can you please explain this to me? The head priest said, O king, in this life we do not find any sinful activity, even within your mind. So you are not in the least offensive. But we can see that in your previous life you performed sinful activities, due to which, in spite of you having all qualification, you have no son. O king, we wish all good fortune to you. You have no son, but if you pray at once to the Supreme Lord and ask for a son, if you execute the sacrifice of the purpose, the enjoyer of the sacrifice, the Supreme Lord will fulfill your desires. See, in this case, what is being said? Here, to complete the task, you need a person to carry forward your name. So the son is required. There is no son because you have done something in your past life which has jeopardized this particular position of yours. When Hari, the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, is invited to fulfill your desire for a son, all the demigods will come to him and take their shares of the sacrifice. The performer of the sacrifices are under karma kanda, although the fulfillment of the desire for which he worships the Lord. Thus, for the sake of a son of King Anga, they decided to offer oblations to Lord Vishnu, who is situated in the hearts of all living entities. As soon as the oblations were offered in the fire, a person appeared from the fire altar wearing a golden garland and a white dress, and he was carrying a golden pot filled with rice boiled in milk. So they tell King Anga, see Anga, one is there is no son. You are offering everything to the demigods. You should have offered this to Lord Vishnu himself, who can sanction all your wishes. So, can you do this? Instead of doing the prayer to these other gods and other things, can you offer whatever that you have to with a wish that you need a son or whatever and offer it to Lord Vishnu? And that is when he does it, and the Lord stands in front of him. The king was very liberal, and after taking permission from the priest, he took the preparation in his joint hand, and after smelling it, he offered the portion to his wife. Although the queen had no son after eating the food, which had the power to produce a male child, she became pregnant by her husband, and in due course of time, she gave birth to a son. The boy was born partially in the dynasty of the irreligion. His grandfather was death personified, and the boy grew up as a follower. He became a greatly irreligious person. So the Lord sends this particular offering to King Anga, and this is a sweet kheer, as they call it. The kheer, he gives it to his wife. His wife eats that kheer, and she gives birth to a son. But this son is a son of Yamadev. Okay? He is irreligious in his ways. He doesn't follow religion. He follows pathways which are left-handed, which are not supposed to be done. And that is the reason why he is born like that. After fixing his bow and arrow, the cruel boy used to go to the forest, unnecessarily kill innocent deers, and as soon as he came, all the people would cry, here comes cruel Vena, here comes cruel Vena. So now you have understood why Vena is supposed to be the villain in this whole piece. It is because he would go to the forest and kill whomsoever he felt like. All the deers and everybody he will feel. And people were very much afraid of him. And they would call him out to be Vena. Somebody who is, doing all the wrongful act. The boy was so cruel that while playing with the young boys of his age, he would kill them very mercilessly as if they were animals meant for slaughter. After seeing the cruel and the merciless behavior of his son Vena, King Anga punished him with different ways to reform him, but he was unable to bring him back to the path of gentleness. He thus became greatly aggrieved. The king thought to himself, people who have no sons are certainly fortunate. They must have worshipped the Lord in their previous life, so they would not have to suffer the unbearable unhappiness caused by the bad son. A sinful son causes a person's reputation to vanish. Irreligious activities at home cause irreligion and quarrel among everyone, and this creates only endless anxiety. So here, King Vena, who is such a bad person, his father is very much disturbed by it, and he keeps on thinking, why was this son born to me? Of all the creatures in the world, he's such a villainous person. I wish I did not have a son like this. Because having a son so bad in your life is going to destroy your own happiness and the kingdom itself. So naturally, he is feeling that that is not correct on the path, and a sinful son causes a person's reputation to vanish. Irreligious activities at home cause irreligion and quarrel among everyone, and this creates only endless anxiety. Who, if he is considerate and intelligent, would desire such a worthless son? Such a son is nothing but a bond of illusion for the living entity, and he makes one's home miserable. Then the king thought, a bad son is better than a good son, because a good son creates an attachment for home, whereas a bad son does not. A bad son creates a hellish home from which an intelligent man naturally becomes very easily detached. Now, this is a very spiritual approach. He says that it is better to have a bad son. Why? When you have somebody bad in your life, you become detached from the person. You don't bother to be associated with that bad person, isn't it? Now, in your own family, if there is someone who is terrible, who is a bad person, what happens to you? You want to stay quiet, you want to stay away from this person. If that person is an angry bird, you want to stay far away from this angry person. You don't want to be associated with this person. You would rather they not be around. But this is what makes you completely detached, and then you can turn your attention to God. So that way also it is very good. This is what king is saying about his son Vena. Thinking like that, King Anga could not sleep at night. He became completely indifferent to household life. Once, therefore, in the dead of the night, he got up from bed and left Vena's mother, who was sleeping deeply. He gave up the attraction for the greatly opulent kingdom, and unseen by anyone, he very silently gave up his home and opulence and proceeded towards the forest. Now, here is the king. He got so disturbed by his son, Vena, who was a villainous kind of a person, that one night he said, now there is no time to be around over here. What is the point if I already have such a bad son? I would rather give up everything and go away. So one night he wakes up, looks at his wife and everything around him, and just walks away into the forest. When it is understood that the king was indifferently left home, all the citizens, priests, ministers, friends, and people in general were greatly aggrieved. They began to search for him in the world, just as a less experienced mystic searches out the super soul within himself. When the citizen could not find any trace of the king after searching for him everywhere, they were very disappointed. They returned to their city with the great sages of the country assembled because of king's absence. With tears in their eyes, the citizens offered respectful obeisance and offered the sages in full detail that they were unable to find the king anywhere. So this is the way in which the king Anga gives up his kingdom and goes away into the forest. The people go after him trying to search for him, but he is not to be found anywhere. So they all come back again into the kingdom to see what can be done. And everybody assembles over there. Now we are going to have the story of Vena also in the next chapter. So this chapter we have concluded. So today we have understood how bad people can influence someone else in life to become a good human being. So it is all the ways of the world. People can hardly understand. We all think that this bad person is like this, he is not good, blah, 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 blah. But no, why is that bad thing over there? So that you can turn towards the good. So this is the main story in this chapter. So we have come to the end of the chapter where King Anga has taken sannyasa. So we will stop over here for today.
Recording stopped.